Okay, here we go. The Packers 53-man roster predictions coming right up. Right now, here I'm on this website here on Packers News. It's where, build a roster. You could put on your general manager's hat and build a roster for the Packers, but don't exceed the league salary cap. Right now, we can tell right here that the availability spend is probably not quite right, but this is just a really rough estimate. And with all that said, here we go. Here's the roster, and highlighted here, right here in blue, are guys that are eligible for the practice squad. So let's get right to it, and I'll leave the link for this this website in the description so you can do your own roster predictions. And as of now, there has been no reports of any cuts for today. The final day for cuts is tomorrow, and that is the deadline, which is about 2 o'clock, I think. 2 or 3 o'clock Central Time, I believe, is my guess for the final cuts for all 32 teams, and it'll be down to the 53-man roster. So here we go. I believe that Darius Shepard, I think, is probably going to be cut. He is one of the many receivers that is practice squad eligible and will likely be a good candidate for practice squad. Dexter Williams, he's in a crowded running back field, so I think he will also be cut. I don't think anybody else here will be cut, although there is the possibility of Will Redmond possibly being on the bubble, but I think he will stay. Patrick Taylor, the running back, he is currently injured. He has been designated for a non-football injury. He will most likely be cut because he's not healthy. Henry Black, the undrafted free agent safety from Baylor, has a pretty good chance to make it, but he's a good practice squad candidate, so I think he'll be cut. Holman, he's also on the bubble, but I think he's got a really good chance because he can bring something to special teams. And last season, he didn't get a whole lot of playing time due to being one of the guys that he just wasn't on the dress list. But I think he'll get a larger role in his second season. None of these guys here are going to be cut. Crockett, again, crowded running back field. He's going to be gone. Deshaun Amos in a crowded cornerback field, probably gone. Let's see, Ty Summers, he's on the bubble, but he brings a lot, something to the table in terms of special teams and depth at the linebacker position. John Lovitt is a bubble player. He's a fullback, so I don't count him as a running back. I will let him go for now. Delante Scott, he's kind of in and out with injuries from time to time, and I believe is injured right now. I think he will be released in a crowded outside linebacker backfield or for the outside linebackers. Ento is one of the guys that has been quite impressive through camp and might have a chance to be able to make the roster. I'll leave him unchecked for now. Will Sunderland, he's probably gone. Galay and Barnes, I think, will be cut. These guys are largely undrafted free agents, and it's too bad that these undrafted free agent guys don't have really much of a chance to be able to showcase their talent in games due to the fact that these undrafted free agents just don't have any chances to prove themselves. They have to prove themselves in practice and in camp. I just don't think that we are going to see very many undrafted free agents, if any, are going to make these rosters unless they impress the coaches. Then I can see that be a possibility. Garvin, Kamal Martin, I think that they're safe. Greg Roberts, he was the one that was dealing with injuries, not Scott. And Roberts is injured right now, and I think he will be gone. Cody Conway, I think he's probably pretty safe to say he's gone. Zach Johnson, the same. Simon Steps, I think he will be one of the guys that will probably be on the outside looking in. He is more of a developmental guard. Josh Nijman, oh man, I have no clue where to go with Nijman. He's really got a lot of upside. He's got the size. He can play left tackle. That is something where I'm kind of uncertain about. I'll leave him unchecked for now, and I'll come back to him. Leglue, I think he's gone. Malik Turner, he was just signed for some competition. He's spent some time with the Seattle Seahawks, and he's probably not eligible for the practice squad. So I tend to think that if we cut him, he will not be on the practice squad. It's a pretty big risk to be able to cut Turner, but I think he will be gone, and I'll check him. Reggie Bagelton I'll leave for now. He's got a really good chance to make the roster. He's become a fan favorite, so I'm going to leave him unchecked for now. Malik Taylor, he's shown some promise in camp, but with a crowded wide receiving core, I think he will be cut as well. Both Malik's cut. Evan Bayless, he's in a crowded tight end backfield. He will be cut. And Willington Prevalon, I'll finish it off here for now, and I will release these guys to free agency. So that leaves a few more players left from 61 to 53. Let's go back over and look again to see who is left over. Guys that have pretty good chances to make the roster. Stanford Samuels, I think I'll come back and I'll cut him. Actually left over him by mistake. This is pretty difficult here. Ramsey, he's another bubble player on the outside looking in. I think he'll be cut, and he's a good developmental guy on the practice squad. He made practice squad last year, and I thought he did pretty well in last year's camp, but not as much has been talked about Randy all throughout camp. I think he's probably going to be a guy that's going to be another developmental guy with the potential of possibly being elevated later in the season. Trayvon Hester right now and Montravius Adams are both guys that are injured right now, and they can definitely provide depth at the defensive end position. Between the two, it's a tough call for me. Montravius is an enigma. He is a former third-round draft pick. I'm not entirely sure if the Packers go in that direction if they decide to release a former third-round pick because of the draft status, and he also has a little bit of versatility. He can play backup nose as well. And Trayvon Hester, he was the guy that blocked the field goal to send the Philadelphia Eagles past the wild card round against the Chicago Bears. I want Hester, but he is relatively inexperienced in the 3-4, so I think that Trayvon Hester will probably be the odd man out, and I think he will be released. Now going back up here, I think Ento will be cut because the cornerback position is going to be really tough. I think we may go with 5 corners instead of 6. So I'm going to go up to and release them to see where we're at right now, 57. So that leaves 4 more guys to be released. I think Tim Williams will probably be cut. I'm not quite sure what to make of Williams. He hasn't really faced a whole bunch of time. I think I'll release him. In fact, I like to be able to go into position filter and kind of look at where we are at linebacker. Let's see, we got the Smith brothers, Rashawn Gary, and Jonathan Garvin so far on the outside. I think that there's a pretty good possibility we'll go with 4 outside linebackers, even though I think we go pretty heavy there at the position. But I think inside linebacker kind of right now is kind of a little bit of a concern. We do have some guys here that are qualified candidates for practice squad. And from what I've seen from Jonathan Garvin, I think he shows a lot of promises, which is why I think he will stick. Out of the linebackers right now, I think Bolton is probably going to be a candidate for release. He is currently injured right now, and I think he's a really good candidate for practice squad. So I think we can probably release Bolton for now. Remember that Kamal Martin is injured, so I think that he will have to make the roster initially in order to in order to go on the injured reserve list designated to return. That's what I think will happen with Kamal, so I just don't see him being released and being stashed away. I don't see him being released, especially, and I don't see him being put on injured reserve, ending his season. That would not be, especially since his timetable is about 6 weeks. So, like I said, I think I'll come back to that. Right now, I'd like to be able to go to the position filter and kind of like go over things. We got 2 more players to cut. Right now, we got our quarterbacks. I'm just going to go scroll over that. John Lovitt, he's a fullback / tight end. It's hard to say where the Packers are going to go with. I think the Packers will stick with him because of the Matt LaFleur offense. We want to go with a fullback that can also play tight end. That is definitely the case with DeGuara, but he's a rookie, so I don't really expect a whole bunch of things from him yet. He's probably more of a developmental guy, so that's why I do think that we keep Lovett. Jake Hanson, I think it'll be a really big risk if we decide to release Hanson, because I think some team will probably most likely pick him up if we do cut him. But we do have another capable backup center, and that is he's listed as a guard. This is Lucas Patrick, and even Elton Jenkins can go and play center, but Jenkins will be penciled in as probably our starting left guard. We have quite a bit of guards. We also have a guard that can play offensive tackle. Billy Turner is rumored to potentially be the starting right tackle if he's available. He's dealing with a knee injury. He may miss the Week 1 game against Minnesota, so it's hard to tell right now at this juncture. I think I'll go back, and I think as much as I would like to have Hanson stick, I don't know. He's probably a really raw player like Simon Steps. I think I'll release Hanson to free agency and maybe hope that the Packers can get him back on the practice squad and he can be elevated whenever need be, whether some kind of injury happens. I think the interior depth on the offensive line is pretty good, even though we're going to release one. Nijman, I think Nijman is going to stick because there is currently a problem with the offensive tackles. There's injuries there. Like I said, Turner, he is injured. He may not be available for Week 1. Rick Wagner, our big free agent signee, he is also dealing with some injuries. He's been in and out of camp. So I think by virtue of that, I think that is why Nijman is going to stick. Like I said, he's got the height. He's really relatively inexperienced, but he's got a lot of upside, so I think Nijman will make the roster. So that leaves one more player to go. Right now we're at 54. I'm going to go and look at the position right now to see where we're at. We got our 3 quarterbacks. Wide receiver, right now we have 6, including that includes Reggie Bagelton. This one's tough. Do we take a chance? Do we cut Reggie Bagelton and hope we can get him on practice squad? Or should we cut Nijman? That would leave us at 4 offensive tackles, with Billy Turner being a versatile chess piece. But with the injuries there and the uncertainty of going into this, I think Nijman will make it. It's hard to tell. This could go either way. The defensive linemen, I think, are pretty good. Linebackers are pretty good. I think Ty Summers, again, makes it due to his special teams ability. Same thing with Oren Burks. He has got something to contribute on special teams, and he's had a relatively healthy camp, so I think he will make it. And I'm going to go back to corner. I think we're set here. I think we are going to go with 5 corners, and back at safety, I think we're going to go with 5 safeties because the team has been going relatively safety heavy. And given the fact that we do have Raven Green, he's a versatile guy. He can probably go and play linebacker. So it's kind of good to be able to have that extra safety in there whenever Raven goes and plays inside. Especially on nickel and dime packages. like I said, Will Redmond, I think he's got the versatility to be able to play strong and free. Vernon Scott, I would think would probably be a better practice squad addition, but Vernon Scott will be able to come in and play free safety whenever Raven is going to be a linebacker, and Will Redmond can play the strong safety role where Vernon Scott will be behind Darnell Savage. So I think we're going to go with 5 safeties. That was the case last season. As far as kickers go, of course, Mason Crosby, he's making it. J.K. Scott's making it. Hunter Bradley, he's making it. I'm going to go right back up, and I don't know. Right now, it's so difficult for me to look to see what we can do here. It's between Bagelton and Nijman for me. It pains me to say this, but I think Bagelton is going to be the one that's going to be the odd man out. I want Bagelton to make the roster, but I think he will have a good chance to be able to come back, and he'll have a good chance to come back from being the practice squad. Injuries can happen. So just take this with a grain of salt. I don't really think that this is gonna be playing out. I'm just giving my best prediction right now. Given the circumstance, players could wind up going on injured reserve. Some players could wind up going on the PUP list. So this is the 53-man roster how I have it for now. And now I'm going to go to the players that we cut so we can go for a practice squad. Now, keep in mind, when we go to the practice squad here, all these guys right here will have to clear waivers, except with the exception of the 3 guys here that we cut that are not practice squad eligible. They will stay free agents, and that will be it. So the practice squad will probably look differently than how I see it. Probably because some of these guys will most likely find their ways on another 53-man roster, on another team, or another practice squad. But like I said, these guys have to clear waivers, and that has to become within a day of being released into free agency. So I think the guys that are going to make practice squad are Shepard, Williams, Stanford Samuels. I think will probably have a good chance to clear waivers. Bolton, I believe, will have a good chance. It's dicey with Bolton. He has a lot of promise, but I think he will be able to pass through waivers. He is injured, so I'm not entirely sure if a team is going to pick him up. There's a pretty good chance that we will see Bolton on the PUP list, and he won't be able to see any action until after the first 6 games of the regular season. Ento, Galay, Ramsey, Chris Barnes, I think the UCLA undrafted free agent has a good chance. I'm going to go with Hanson. Hopefully he will pass through waivers and some team doesn't pick him up. Simon Stepp's the same. Bagelton, Bayless. I'm going to see how many we have now that are on practice squad. Okay, you've got 12, so there's about 4 more. The practice squad additions, the addition to practice squad is now gone from 10 to 16, so 6 more guys can make it. I think Willington Prevalon will be a practice squad addition because we could use another defensive lineman in there. I'm going to go with Malik Taylor, John LeGlue. He is another good practice squad addition, and I have to go for another one. I think I'll go with Henry Black because I know that we like to go with safeties, and that's how it's going to go. So I will add these guys to the practice squad, so that will be our 16-man practice squad, are these guys right here. And now to the 53-man roster. I'm going to go over each position okay, here we go. Quarterbacks, we got the power trio with Aaron the GOAT. Tim Boyle will probably be our backup to Aaron, and Jordan Love being the number 3 guy, as we do not want Jordan to really play a game for us. We got to bring him along slowly and be the heir apparent to our beloved GOAT, Aaron Rodgers. So that is how things are going to go for the quarterbacks. That's probably set in stone. And for our running backs, including our fullback John Lovitt, I think that we are going to go with a fullback there because I know that Matt LaFleur wants to use a Kyle Juszczyk type of guy, so Lovitt will make it. And we will have our 4 running backs here: A.J. Dillon, Jamal Williams, Tyler Ervin, and Aaron Jones will be our 4 running backs. And then our wide receivers, like I said, this could go either way. We will either have 5 or 6. I think that these are going to be the 5 guys that we were going to go forward with. And in the event, if there's some kind of injury, I would probably think that Reggie Bagelton will have a good chance to be able to get elevated, just like Alan Lazard did last year. Our 4 tight ends here: DeGuara, Tanyan, Jay Sternberger, and Mercedes Lewis. And then we got Corey Lindsey as our starting center, but we do have a good backup. I do have a good backup here in Lucas Patrick. As I mentioned earlier, we got Lane Taylor, Elton Jenkins, John Runyon will be in there to solidify the guard depth. Offensive tackle, I think we will go with 4. It wouldn't surprise me if we just we'll end up going with 3, with Bakhtiari and Rick Wagner at offensive tackle, and then Alex Light being a swing backup. Defensive line, I kind of expected to go this way, but like I said, it's going to come down to Montravius Adams or Trayvon Hester. I think one of those 2 guys will be cut, but I think because Montravius was a former 3rd-round pick, I think he's going to get his last chance to stick for the Packers. So I think it's going to go that way. It wouldn't surprise me if he does get released with an injury settlement because of that. And the linebackers, I kind of wish that they would filter it by outside and inside, but I think we will go with 4 outside linebackers. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we go with 5, with Tim Williams being on the roster, but Tim Williams, to me, it just hasn't really shown much. I don't think he's practice squad eligible, and I just don't think there's anything there with him. We got Jonathan Garvin with higher upside, and then we have the Smith brothers. Rashawn Gary is expected to have a larger role coming into this season as being a very, very much a developmental guy. And the inside linebackers, it will be Oren Burks, Christian Kirksey, and Kamal Martin will initially make the roster, but I think I will expect him to be placed on injured reserve with the designation to return tag when it's all said and done. And then Ty Summers will be our 4th linebacker. And look for Curtis Bolton to have the potential to be able to replace Kamal. Our cornerbacks, again, I'm not going to go over this. We are going to go with these 5 guys, with Chandon Sullivan taking over Tremont's role as the nickel corner. And again, I'm going to go over the safeties really quickly. Raven Green is interchangeable at both safety and inside linebacker, so that's why I'm going to have the Packers go with 5 guys. Vernon Scott certainly shows some promise as an instinctive free safety. And then we will have our assumed starters, Darnell Savage, Adrian Amos, with Will Redmond, Vernon Scott backing them up. And Raven Green will also be a versatile... I'm not going to put that in there. Kicker Mason Crosby, he's going to stick. J.K. Scott and Hunter Bradley. So that is it. I'm going to finalize the roster, and there we go. That is the 53-man roster of the Green Bay Packers heading into this upcoming season. I might be wrong, and let's just hope that I'm going to... I would, like I said, I really would have liked Reggie Bagelton to stick, and I think there's a very good chance that he will. It's a tough call. It's a very, very tough call. I don't know where things are going to go. Last year, I made a 53-man roster projection very much like this, and I was wrong. There were some surprise cuts. There always are surprise cuts in camp. So I expect it to remain the same. There will definitely be some surprises. Just like every year. Who knows? Maybe some of these guys that I just mentioned here are probably not going to stick. I'm just going to scroll over here, the names here who are just going to make it really quick with the practice squad additions here. Who knows what's going to happen come tomorrow? If you are viewing this on Friday, which if you're viewing this on Saturday, after the cuts, then that's how it goes. So with that, I'll catch you guys later, and go Pack, go.